Ms Noakes, it's an absolute and genuine pleasure to serve under your chairship today, and my thanks go as ever to the Honourable Member for Strangford for securing this debate. I am going to echo much of what he said during his contribution, because Nigeria is an important partner for the UK. We have such vibrant connections through our diaspora communities with thriving trade and cultural links, and we have a clear common interest in reducing insecurity across the Sahel and West Africa and supporting democracy in a region where military coups have sadly become so frequent. As we heard in the debate last June, the days when religious violence was largely about Boko Haram and concentrated in the northeast are long gone. Violence and kidnapping connecting to religious and ethnic differences are now common in the northwest, the Middle Belt and parts of South Nigeria too. And much of this violence is utterly horrific, including the attack on St Francis Catholic Church in Ondo State. Today we remember the victims of this terrorist atrocity, 41 innocents killed during a Pentecost Mass, and express again our solidarity with the people of Nigeria for these terrible losses. It demonstrates the inspiring resilience that community of that church was filled with worshippers again on Easter Sunday. So many communities right across Nigeria are showing that same resilience and a true commitment to peace, working together across differences. Reports suggest that increased activity by Nigeria's security forces in the run-up to the elections led to a decrease in killings and kidnappings, but clearly the violence hasn't stopped, because just 2 weeks ago, on the 5th of April, at least 46 people were killed in conflict between farming and herding communities in the Benue state in the southeast. Many attacks by armed groups are accompanied by mass kidnappings for ransom, with hostages subject to horrific brutality. Villages are emptied as people flee, putting even more humanitarian pressure on a country where over 3.1 million people are displaced already. Some of the violence is clearly targeted at Christians, whilst in other cases the motivations are less clear: financial gain from ransoms, land seizures, revenge, or a political dispute. Many of the victims of violence by armed groups in Nigeria are Muslim and from many other ethnic groups. It is a really complex picture, and I believe we must be careful, because generalisations here could fuel dangerous narratives about a religious war. And that, as we all know, can only play into the hands of extremists. In last year's debates, I made clear that greater priority and changing focus is needed for our security partnerships with Nigeria. We need to better complement efforts to provide security to communities across our country. Our partnership needs to work in harmony with regional efforts to tackle the cross-border drivers of insecurity in Nigeria. And I believe that we need to understand how interlinked security problems have been growing across the wider region. That means the Sahel, of course, but also increasingly other coastal West African states too, including our other Commonwealth siblings of Ghana and Togo, as well as Côte d'Ivoire and Benin. Without concerted action, insecurity may increase further. So I hope the Minister will be able to tell us today about the work being done across these borders. What are we doing to help tackle the supply of weapons to armed groups? How are we supporting peace building between pastoralist and agricultural community? And I'd be grateful to know what progress she thinks is being made with the Accra initiative, and whether she knows of any discussions about Nigerian involvement in the initiative in the future.